Well, Merry Christmas, Coffee Time friends.
Merry Christmas.
It's Christmas morning, and we've been buzzing around here for about 2 hours. That's just where we roll. We're crazy. The coffee's good this morning. The coffee's hot. Mama, did you have coffee?
I've got a cup right over.
All right. Yeah, okay. I was just making sure. So, what in the world have they been doing all morning? I have cut up celery, a whole stalk, and I've done it by hand because we like it chunky. I could run it through the chopper,
But you get full, happy.
and then my mama gripes and goes on. But look there. See how chunky? We want chunky celery. And this is one yellow onion and a half, a small one. So probably I would call it one medium onion and a stalk of celery. It's hard to measure that kind of stuff at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
So we're getting ready to do dressing. Y'all seen us do this. Remember about a month or two ago when we made this counter full of dressing? Same process, just different amount.
6 gallon.
It was a bunch of 6 gallon of dressing we made. So I'm gonna put a stick of butter right on top of this. I did start without y'all just a little bit because I had no choice. I spilt the poultry seasoning. So that's the reason there's some poultry seasoning already in here. So come right down here. So this is a stick of butter. That's the poultry seasoning I spilled all over my cutting board because there was about that much in one, and then this one I thought I'll just combine them. Yeah, I combined them all right. Partially combined, partially spilled. So I just swept it off in there.
Because I've got that turkey.
Exactly. We don't put a lot. So this is about a teaspoon that's spilt in there. And I'm just going to cover the tops on this stuff for now. If I can always add later. All this does is blooms it. And I did put a dash of salt. Just, but we're going to use poultry. We're going to use, what is that stuff over there? Turkey broth. So it's already a little salty. So we won't put much salt at all. This is...
Because there's a lot of sage in the turkey broth too.
This is rubbing sage. Just going to cover the top. It'll probably equal about a teaspoon, maybe a little more. And I will add later to the mixture once it's hot. I just want this to bloom a little bit by getting hot and bubbly. So the flavor will be in that dressing as soon as I start mixing it instead of having to wait for it to sit a while, warm up, and get its stuff together. We put this in the microwave. It'll make its own water. It's 1 stick of butter. The onions will, and I put the salt in about 40 minutes ago, so the onions are already sweating out a little bit to get some of that. This is just plastic film, plastic wrap, plastic seal. What do you want to call this? We used to call it by the
Cleaning seal, that says.
we used to call it by the brand name of Saran, but I try to quit doing that.
This is cleaning seal.
There's some brands that are just so popular that we use the brand name for the item. And I'll tell you one of the biggest ones I guess we do here in America is Kleenex. No, we don't own Kleenex or nothing like that. In case you're just wondering, but that's just a saran wrap, plastic wrap, cling wrap, whatever you want to call it, on top there, and we're going to put it in the microwave for about 8 minutes, and that'll cook those onions. When you say, hand me a Kleenex, everybody knows what you mean. And really, it's a facial tissue. Do we call it that? We don't here in the South. I don't know. Worldwide, you probably all do better. But we call all them white squares that you Kleenex. And that's just a brand name. A lot of people call, which Mama and I don't, but a lot of people call every plastic container a piece of Tupperware. And Tupperware is a brand. And we know the Tupperware. But everything's not Tupperware. And I get sick of people, put in your Tupperware. Tupperware is not every plastic container. But we do that. It's fun. I mean, I think it's a funny thing. Just certain things, you just pick them out and sweetened condensed milk. I don't know about everywhere, but here in the South, everybody call it, if they're giving you a recipe, they're saying, put a can of Eagle Brand in it. Eagle brand is the brand of the sweetened condensed milk, but we use store brand. But we'll still call it Eagle brand. Mama will tell me, go in there and give me a can of Eagle brand. I know exactly what she's talking about. And a lot of y'all, and you'll see recipes in the South, and it's got on there. Add 1 can of Eagle brand. Well, if you didn't know Eagle brand was condensed milk, you'd be like, what in the world are they talking about? So I just think that's one of those little things that culturally we do, and I think it's funny. Mama, you want to show them your cornbread?
Well, not that
And your
one.
pound bread?
Well, not that pound of cornbread. It's
Oh, Mama, you have to show it off.
It's a disaster.
We had a disaster in cornbread, and I'll tell you why. And you Southerners know. This is a thing of pound bread on top. That's not corn bread. That's pound biscuit bread, and 2 round pounds of cornbread that are also perfectly cooked, perfectly brilliantly brown. And why am I bragging so much on Mama's cornbread? Because this is also Mama's cornbread. And
You're not supposed to show all Mama's
she said, look at this. We didn't crumble this. This came out of the pan that way. But what she did, and you Southerners will know, this is not made in her cornbread skillet. She thought she was going to be crafty and use her bacon meat skillet, and it's and it looks good and cured, but it was clean, but it just don't do cornbread. This is the reason in the South, if you use somebody's cornbread skillet for something that's not cornbread, you're gonna catch it, because this was made in a non-cornbread black iron skillet. And it just crumbled up. It stuck on bottom, shit through the bottom way and everything. Mama said I gotta crumble it up anyway, so that's good. This is pound bread. It's made in a 9x9. It's biscuit. This is biscuit. This is not cornbread. See, that's beautiful biscuits. We make our biscuits sometimes like that and eat them. Eat the pound instead of making little biscuits. It's quick. It's easy. You just make your. The best way I can explain it is just make your biscuit batter a little looser, a little more milk, a little more buttermilk, and so it'll pour easy. Once it'll pour in that pan, you throw it in your oven, in a hot oven, and you bake it. And you can have beautiful pone bread, P-O-N, pone bread. This is Mama's cornbread made in her cornbread skillet compared to the one not made in a cornbread skillet. See the difference? Beautiful. Mama's got more than 1 cornbread skillet, but she must not have 3. This is another pound of cornbread. Now, not to be confused with pound bread, which is biscuit bread. This is cornbread, a pound of cornbread. And see how perfectly beautiful that is. So, we'll be crumbling all this up in there for today's dressing. And that's all we're going to use is basically 3 pounds of cornbread and 1 of this biscuit bread. The biscuit bread will just make it moisture. A lot of y'all, and it binds, a lot of y'all will use crackers or light bread instead of biscuit bread. Well, I'm going to tell you, the biscuit bread works wonderful, and it's really easier to deal with, to me, than the crackers or doing the light bread and pulling it off. So, try out you some pound bread. And then one night for supper, let's say a Tuesday night, when you really don't want to fill with biscuits or cornbread or rolls or anything, all you want is just some bread to eat with your meal. Throw you a pint of pound bread in the oven and see if your family don't just love it. We've done that several decades, haven't we, Mama? Back in the day, before Mama and I were trying to not eat all the bread in the world, white flour and sugar at every meal, we would have pound bread once a week at least. We might have biscuits once a week, or we'd have cornbread 3 or 4 times a week, because every meal probably required some kind of cornbread, pound bread, or something. So we would eat one of those. It's not been an easy journey trying to cut back these last 5 or 6 months, but we've been pretty good, haven't we, Mom?
I think we have. I ain't had good bread ever.
Oh, we had no good bread ever. We're definitely off the wagon today.
I was so tempted to cut that and put me some butter on it.
I can't believe you didn't, Mama. I would have. I would have fallen into temptation. It was Christmas. She made this last night. So it was Christmas Eve, and she had much more food going. We had family over last night for snacks, and it was a wonderful time. We had an absolutely wonderful time. Sat around the fire. They sat around the fire. I sat back from the fire. It was too hot. Mama was, I said, are you baking the turkey? Are you baking the turkey in this room, Mama? And she said, is it a little warm? I said 86, at least.
Oh, it wasn't hard enough.
I didn't have a thermometer, but I'm putting one out there. I'm going to drag out one of Daddy's old Coca-Cola thermometers and hang on the wall out there. It'll be a thing of beauty, a thing of art, and it will also be a way for me to say, good night of living, Mama. It's hot in here. Now, what we're doing now, we're in between, and that's the reason that we had time to go live. On the stove over there in the darkness, Mama don't use lights, y'all know that. That's the turkey broth. That's the boiling eggs. We're going to do deviled eggs. And what's in that kettle that you just done?
Hey, I've made one.
And this is going to be, and there's the turkey glowing in the oven. And that's y'all's sweet tea coming up. You got to have y'all's sweet tea for Christmas. That's a Southern tradition.
A gallon bag.
Mama showed me what you got. So that's just the gallon bag. You let your water come up to boil. She's not going to drop it in yet. And just before it starts really rapid boiling, and what Mama does a lot of times, she'll let it boil and then she'll turn the stove off and let it come back down. Then you drop the bag in there for 9 minutes. And that's all you have to do. You put your pitcher and you put your ice up to the ice line. Pour your sugar in there. And this is, look here, this is what you know when you're at Mama's house. That's a first batch of tea.
I got my Yellow's pitchers full.
Yeah.
I got regular tea and peach tea.
We have regular tea, peach tea, and this is, was that unsweetened?
No, this is all this going to be sweet because they all like sweet tea.
So we're talking about 4 gallons of tea at this house today. Would you hand me your dish rag? I have played around with this cornbread, and it's shiny. It's shiny. What are y'all up to? Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Hello, Troy, Merry Christmas. Hey, Allison, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, John and Mama. Ethel, we're glad to have you here. Hey, Nancy, how are you? Merry Christmas and God bless. What happened to the year? We were just here like a couple months ago doing Christmas last year. And here we are again. And just glad and blessed to be here. Thank you, Mama. So what's my next chore?
I checked this if the celery's doing it.
So the celery
Just kicked off.
is all that microwaving that we were talking about earlier. It has now kicked off, so it's ready. Mama, you gonna get that out of there because it's gonna be hot.
I'm going to, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. It was just boiling, and it's
It's
liquid,
not over.
and it's up. And I'm gonna get it, Mom. Let me, because that's over your head, and it's hot, and you'll have to hold it straight. I'll get a talking to when the video's over, because she'll say, I could have got that out of there. You make me look like I can't do nothing. The microwave's over the stove. I would never do that again in a new build. If you're building a new
Especially
kitchen,
if you got a short more.
if you're building a new kitchen, the microwave, this was something people did when we bought these cabinets, and it looks fine, it's out of the way, but I would never do it again.
Not if you got a short mama that can't reach.
Well, even for me, I just sticking it in counter height level in a cabinet or something would be much better. That's just a little side note. That's the celery and onions. Now it domed up,
Watch it.
and then don't do that. Pull it away from your face. You will get a serious burn. Now this is what Mama was saying, it ain't too hot. Mama, it's pretty hot now. I want to tell you. Yeah, it's done. It don't have to be done, for one thing, because it's going to bake for 30, 40 minutes. But this is done. It's good and tender. We like to get it good and tender. I love just the smell. Really, to be honest with you, I put the raw onions and celery in there and bake it, and it'll be just fine. But I like the smell. I like that Thanksgiving smell. This is a little bit of turkey broth in here, and this reason I didn't put much salt, because this come off another turkey.
Yeah, one I fixed for the
Christmas.
homecoming dinner.
Oh, homecoming dinner. So this is how we get salt and butter and all that in it, because it's our turkey broth from our turkey we fixed previously.
Back in October.
One of the best ways to preserve this, in our opinion, and we're not speaking from any point of authority, but I'll just say it that way. We take up the broth from the turkey and from any chicken or anything we fix throughout the year, and we save our JFG salad dressing jars, the plastic ones, and our Duke's jars. We wash them out good, and when we have hot broth, we let it temper down and cool. We pour it over into our plastic mayonnaise salad dressing jars, put that lid on there good and tight, put it in the freezer, take it out. You can put that in the microwave. The plastic's safe to do that. And you can thaw it out pretty quickly. And then you just throw that jar away. You don't have to worry about washing the greasy jar. So that's a wonderful thing. So this is our broth. Now, if it's been strained out, but it still has a few the pieces in it. But originally we strained it out to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting my bread in here. And I know I'm going to need more broth. So
I've got some cooking.
I'm going to just put it all in here. If this is all the broth I had in the world, then I would probably want to save some of it aside, put my bread, and then add to it, because you'll never get it right on the first row. Now, I did just put those big chunks of bread in there, but it's in hot liquid. It don't take bread long. Try to duck your cookie in your coffee. You see what happens. That's the same thing that happens to this bread. It just goes to mush. You don't have to worry about standing here rolling it between your fingers, because it's going to go to mush right here.
I'm not going to give you this brown, because I did freeze that pan good so it wouldn't stick, but it didn't work. So
Mama thought she had outdone the time-honored tradition of only using cornbread skillet. But this was a good chance to test it, wasn't it, Mom?
Well, I knowed I was going to crumble it up anyway, so I wasn't.
You wasn't too worried.
No.
We have turned this Christmas into one of our most stress-free Christmases. Mama's put up a bunch of trees. We've had remodeling going on. It should have been even more stressful. But really, we did well. We have just taken it for what it is. We've taken it for the reason for the season is to celebrate Christ. And we have just kind of enjoyed the whole thing. Mama has loved putting her trees together. I told her the other day, I said, I know it was probably harder for you during trying to remodel a bathroom, but I think it gave her something to do and kept her from being nervous just waiting or sitting and listening to all the hammering and stuff. So we got up this morning. We usually start this stuff the day ahead. And I said, Mom, we got plenty of time. We always have plenty of time. And she said, well, I'm not going to fret over it. I said, that's exactly right. Let me give you an aerial view here. See how all that bread is just mashing right up. Now, some people don't like the brown pieces in it, and they'll pull that off. We've always just dumped it in there. I like the crunchy brown in my dressing. Now, let me tell you before we even get started on comments. There's 1,010. I've counted every one of them. Not really. There's thousands of ways to make dressing, and everyone's is delicious, and everyone's is traditional, and everyone's is the way Mama made it most of the time. So we're not here touting our dressing is the way to go. We're just here sharing this is the way we do ours. So if you do yours differently, you're welcome to share your recipe in the comments. We'd love to hear it. We might even change something someday. One woman, one year, or I think it was a woman, I remember she was from Kentucky, I believe. She put in here that she always added Granny Smith apples to her dressing. Now this is Christmas, so we won't change our traditional, but I did make hers because she posted the recipe, and it was good, wasn't it, Mama?
Yeah.
And we liked it, Mama.
Oh,
They think I'm turning the refrigerator.
Talking to the refrigerator. No, you're talking to me.
And we tried her recipe, and it was good, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
But it was on a Tuesday night when we had pork chops. So we won't change our traditional, but we will use your all's ideas on other days other than holidays.
Noise.
Give me a wooden spoon. Critical, critical. Sorry about the noise. Oh, this is you're making a lot. Now, the queen of noises is telling me I'm making noise. I'm going to use a wooden spoon. Before you all came along, we didn't use wooden spoons a lot. Mama wanted to save them for pretty. But since y'all have come into our lives, we have learned and we have found the beauty of wooden spoons. I do like wooden spoons more now. That's a much better sound, isn't it? Wooden spoons are good. Now I'm gonna burn myself right here in front of all y'all. Mama, for you to think this wasn't too hot for you to get over top of your head, it's still hot. All this is going in. Can y'all see that? I sure can.
Set it down right there with.
This was one whole stalk of celery, diced up in chunks. I didn't run it through the chopper because we like chunks of celery. Now, you might be trying to hide some celery from some family or hide those onions. You want to mince them up real fine so they just have the flavor, but they won't be going, what is this? And that happens too. See, all that biscuit is now crumbled up. All that cornbread is now crumbled up. That's a beautiful pot of dressing. Now, I mean, not all the cornbread, but all the cornbread we've added because I've got more cornbread here. Gonna put him right in. Put that cornbread right in, and he'll crumble too. First time I done this, I thought my mama was gonna have a stroke. Because my mama, for my whole life, and I thought that was the only way you could do it, she stood and rolled it like this till it was just fine, almost like powder. She said, for good smooth dressing, you have to do that. Well, that was what her mama done, and her grandmama, and my granny had done that for years. Well, when I started cooking in restaurants, and being in restaurants and watching them cook it, and they were throwing whole cornbread muffins in there, and they were throwing whole pounds of cornbread in there, and they were stirring it by hand most of the time. I said, that's not necessary, Mama. She said, well, you've messed up the dressing. And then it didn't take long. Does she sing? Well, it's just the same, and I didn't have to spend an hour doing that. And so then now she's perfectly fine with a whole new way of doing business, but we've been doing it this way for 25 years or so. So, I guess it's not new anymore. When does something new get old or traditional? I guess when another generation comes along and sees you doing it, and they think that's the only way it can be done. I love tradition. I really do. Now this is going to need more broth, and we've got boxes of broth, and we've got some other, but that starting out with that good turkey broth makes a difference. So see, that whole pound of cornbread has just disappeared in there. Can't find it nowhere. A lot of movement. Sorry, my camera person is just really shaky. All right, Mama, we need more liquid. You got any?
I've got this that I cooked after this.
Bring it on. Is it heavy? You gotta watch her. She flips sometimes.
Watch your arm, hands,
Yes, ma'am.
body parts, whatever.
Now this is just
The neck and stuff off of
the giblets. A lot of people make gravy out of this. Now we'll put a can of cream of chicken soup in here. That just sort of makes it creamy and a little more pulled together. It holds it together.
You do that hot, and I'll put my soup in.
Okay. You don't have to cook the soup. It's gonna cook, but you can put your hot liquid in here, and then she's just gonna put a can of cream of chicken in there. It does add a little taste, but it adds a little salt. Thank you for those stars. Josh, thank you so much. I like those little dancing stars. Merry Christmas, everybody. On here with Austin Scott Miller is... Is there an Austin Scott Miller that's stalking us?
Here you go.
He probably is a robot. They send those, they put those programs out that comments on every third person, every second person, or every person, I guess.
Oh, we pulled this 9 minutes, 10 minutes.
You-
Eggs.
Eggs, we boil them for 9 minutes and turn them off and let them sit there for another minute or so. But 8 minutes will get you a hard-boiled egg. Well, this soup, sometimes it'll come right out. Mama, this spoon won't do it. Did you take my other one?
Yeah, I was using it over here.
Come on, soup.
I don't think it'll fit in there.
Well, this soup's in here for eternity. That soup wouldn't come out for no reason. It's in there.
Try this knife to
Yeah.
go around the edges.
You're coming out. Now it jumps out. The power of the vacuum, I guess. Sometimes it'll just come right out. Other times you got a big plate and it'll never come out till you get you a knife or a spatula or a spoon that'll go in there. We want to get it all. So this is just the can of cream of chicken soup. See how I just put it in there in that hot liquid and watch it dissolve away. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stir all this up really good. Make sure I got all my chunks out of there while it's good and liquidy. Remember, we put a stick of butter in the celery, so it's got that buttery flavor. So let me give this a good stir. I'm trying to be easy. Give this a good stir, good mashing. This is going to get any dry that might be down in there somewhere. You're going to fold it from the bottom and all that good stuff. You'll notice my liquid will just vanish away. Now, Mama, do we need this other whole pound of cornbread in here? We've got almost enough for a community service.
We can freeze it.
The dressing?
Yeah, I'll leave on it a couple of days.
So what we do, Mama's talking now, we'll put this in a to-go pan, aluminum foil pan. Wrap it up in aluminum foil good, and we'll put it in the freezer. And we'll save us a pan. Mama used to do pie pans, leftover used pie pans, and she'd fill them full, and we'd have little round dressings throughout the next few months. Mama, how long will it stay in the freezer?
Oh, I don't know. We always eat it up before.
Mama says, who knows? It ain't never been in there that long. And that's the truth. So we're going to make a little extra. This would be plenty for today. We don't have to make 6 gallons today. But we're going to put a little bit more in there.
I've got more broth for eating.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. I don't have to worry as much because I was like, this is getting...
I've got more broth for eating, so it'll be good and hot.
Well, if you got more broth, I won't have to worry about...
Using cornbread.
Yeah, I won't have to worry about making sure I don't get too much in there. So we'll just put it in there. I know some of y'all are having mild heart attacks watching me put a whole pound of cornbread in there. But I promise you, cornbread's tough and it's delicious. But it won't hold up against hot liquid. Once it gets moist, you're good. Boy, I'm glad I switched spoons now, Mama. They are true.
Sorry about the noise, but I got to put some ice.
Nothing can stand in the way of sweet tea. We've got to have a...
Well, this is my eggs.
Oh. So the eggs. Let's talk eggs for a minute. Do you ever have those eggs that has the green sulfur around the yolk? When you crack them open and you think, I wish it didn't have that. You boiled them too long. We boil our eggs, we put them in the water and we let them come up to temperature for one thing. You can add them in later, but a lot of times you'll get cracked ones and they'll come out the sides. But we put them in the water, they come up to boiling. Once they start boiling, we time 8 minutes, we shut it off. Which is, you can probably do after 5 minutes or something too. I've got a friend that just lets her water come to boil, puts her eggs in and lets them sit there for 10 minutes and they're cooked. So we let ours boil for about 8 minutes, we turn it off. And then at 10 minutes, we put it in an ice bath. And that ice bath is very important. Don't skip that step. Put you some ice in a bowl, pour those eggs in there and let them sit for 3 to 4 minutes. Because anything, when it gets hot, the egg gets bigger inside the shell. So you got the shell and you got the egg and it's pretty tight in there. Once you put it in the ice bath, the egg inside cools down and it kind of comes apart from the shell a little bit. Once it does that, you can tap it on that upper end and roll it on your counter and it will come off pretty relatively easy.
I don't think we're going to need this other broth.
No, actually that whole pound of cornbread didn't suck up all my broth. It's good and loose. I can tell it's not the right color that we usually have it.
You'll have to taste because that was pretty sagey.
What was
The broth that I had.
Yeah, it was a good broth. Good turkey broth. Now there's always going to be some dry little pieces hiding around in this kettle. And you want to find them, so keep stirring.
There's some more broth. I just poured it over that.
I might take another 2 ounces of broth. As I stir, I'm finding dry spots.
Don't you pour?
No, I don't want you for it.
You need me to hold?
No. Put about another cup of broth in there. That's going to make it perfect. Once you let it, I should taste it because if I'm going to put seasoning, I need to put it in this liquid. So let's give it a taste. Mama, you've got a taste too because you know I don't trust that my taste is matching into yours. You get it right over on that little island.
Get it on this island?
Mm-hmm. Come over here and think. They can hear your wheels turning, but they can't see you.
They can hear them turn. I think it needs a little more poultry season or sage in the one, don't you?
You can use it. So here's some more sage going in. And a lot of y'all going, oh my gosh. We like sage. A lot of families don't like it. I've seen people use a half a teaspoon of sage or a teaspoon. We use probably a couple of tablespoons. What's the difference in sage and poultry seasoning is poultry seasoning is all kinds of seasonings, and it does have sage in it, so remember that when you're adding sage. But it's got different, and this is delicious on chicken too. But it's got a few more seasons in it that really brings your dressing up a notch or two. I guess we like poultry seasoning the best.
That's what I put a little of both on my turkey.
Right, but we like a little sage too.
Here,
If you're using dried sage,
you need to get that out of the bottom with this bigger spoon. You can. It won't hurt.
it's metal though, Mom.
Well, you don't have to make
You
all
done,
that noise.
you done tell me how to use a wooden spoon. The sage is delicious. If you use fresh sage, which some of you will, you'll have to use a lot more. Fresh sage doesn't taste as strong as dried or any other fresh herb or sage or anything you're putting in anything. You want, if the dried has a more powerful taste. I know people who put fresh sage in dried sage just for that reason. But you're going to need quite a bit of fresh. We tried to grow sage and we didn't get it in time, and the frost got it, and then one time it just didn't come up right. It just was very sparse and didn't do much. But I'm alright with dried seasonings. In the summer, I love fresh cilantro, fresh thyme, fresh rosemary. But really and truly, you have to be dedicated to keep all that up through the winter, or I do. I'm going to put a little bit of this right over here on this cornbread platter. I'm going to call that good, Mama.
Oh, you got it on.
I've got it on here because I knew you wouldn't let me take it off the spoon. You gonna pronounce it?
Mm-hmm.
Mama's pronounced it complete.
That's what it needed.
That's what it needed.
A little more sagey.
So I'll fly y'all over again. And that's the dressing. See how smooth? We'll put this up in pans. If you're into the crunch and the square or the corner pieces, put them in muffin tins. And that way every piece has the crunch, every piece.
Don't take yours long.
And it don't take near as long to bake. If you're in a hurry, put them in some cupcake tins. You can also use cupcake liners if you want. But if not, just grease or butter your cupcake, your muffin tins until you get it just right. Okay, folks, that's cornbread dressing. It's going to be baked, and we'll show you the finished product of this in our next video, which will probably be deviled eggs.
No, I've got the eggs cooled. You can do those now. Well, we'll have to peel them and stuff. This may have to be showed on something else.
Mama's getting all complicated. We'll show it to you when it's done.
Well, I still got broth left, so.
We got broth left. We'll put that in the mayonnaise jar, and we'll have it for another dressing or a soup or whatever we want to use it for. It'll be fresh broth ready to go.
I had high hopes. I even bought a tank of chicken broth in here.
All right, Mama. Tell them bye till the next time.
Yeah, bye until the next time. Thanks for tuning in early.
We'll be back in just a little bit, hopefully with some deviled eggs. Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.